Hey y'all. So it's been a couple weeks and there's lots of new people subscribed to the channel. So I wanted to have another discussion with you guys about who I am. So I told y'all in my why do I care about country rap video, why the original mission of my videos on this channel was to have interesting conversations with interesting people about things I found interesting. Well, I've been very successful at that. Very successful. I've met lots of interesting people who are incredibly intelligent and well studied and free thinking and open-minded, like for real open-minded, not pretend open-minded. And it's been awesome. So since I've got so many new people in here and there are people all over the internet wondering who I am, I figured I'd tell you guys while I catch up on my laundry. Now this time it is not YouTube that made my laundry get behind. This time it is Christmas, because Christmas is crazy and you're going everywhere every day for like 2 weeks and you ain't got time to do all the stuff around your house. And then you got to take down your Christmas decorations. It's just been, busy here. My YouTube actually doesn't take up that much time. Like my videos, even though they're edited, really only take me about an hour to make, unless the video is really long. If the video is really long, like my Nashville video or my All My Life videos, those both took me probably 4 hours a piece to do. So the long ones take a long time, but the short ones, it's just like I get in front of the camera and talk and then, edit out some ums because people have short attention spans. Where's Maisie at? Oh, I hear.
Mommy.
All right.
I see you.
All right, I'll see you. Go play. Hey, Izzy. Roxy wants to come out with y'all. You'll have to carry her down the steps, honey. She's having a hard time with the steps. You see her? Yeah. Okay. So who is Ashley's Thoughts? Ashley's Thoughts is a channel for Ashley, that's me, to share my thoughts with you guys because I think it starts interesting conversations. I was born at Grady Hospital in Atlanta. I was not raised in Atlanta. I've always lived on the outskirts of wherever. We moved around a lot. My mom was 15 when I was born. Or no, she was 15 when she got pregnant. She was 16 when I was born. My daddy was 17. For a little while, my mama lived with my daddy and at my Nana and Papa's house. But you cannot have someone who's always full of crap living with somebody who is always going to call you on your crap. All right? And my mama at that age was a spoiled brat. Okay, and my papa is not the kind of person who's going to deal with a spoiled brat. So there was lots of turbulence in that situation. So my mom and daddy moved out on their own. They got them a place. But their relationship was very turbulent because they were both very young. And I think they both resented each other for the situation they had gotten themselves in. I was raised, my mama had a lot of bitterness. There was a lot of bitterness around me in general, growing up, a lot of bitterness. And I saw it ruin a bunch of people's lives or a bunch of time. Go away, Petty. I've seen it ruin a bunch of lives, bitterness. And so even as a kid, I was like, I'm not going to be bitter. Because bitterness leads unto death. Bitterness is a poison. And when you're bitter, it poisons everything around you. Everything around you. So I wanted people to be better off for having known me. Like give some kind of positive impact in their life. Because what Upchurch says in that song, Ghost, about the ripples in the waters and the whisper in the trees, that's us. We are the ripples in the water, meaning every single thing you do ripples out into infinity and messes with everybody else's ripples. Everything you do matters. Everything you say matters. Everything you hear matters. Everything you've ever experienced matters. Nihilism is a lie. Nihilism is a philosophical viewpoint that rejects fundamental aspects of human existence, such as morality, knowledge, or meaning. It can also be described as the belief that all values are baseless and that nothing can be known or communicated. It is giving up. It is deciding that there is no meaning to life, that morality is not real, there is no true knowledge or meaning. The letter to Timothy warns us, the second letter to Timothy warns us that this stuff is going to come. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, and exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. This is talking about the doctrine of Jesus, which is to love thy neighbor, to forgive as God forgave you, all the beautiful teachings. That's his doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. They will not endure the doctrine he came to preach. But after their own lust they shall heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned into fables. But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, and make full proof of thy ministry. For I am now ready to be offered, for the time of my departure is at hand. Now this is Paul talking to Timothy, but he is telling him they are trying to itch your ears to turn you away from the truth. And this is why. Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher that said God is dead, he first wrote it in 1882 in his book, The Gay Science. He also used the phrase in his book, Thus Spoke Zarathustra. By the way, that is a reference, I believe, to some Zoroastrian stuff, which is, we can get into one day. The Two Babylons discusses all that stuff great. But anyways, Nietzsche's statement is not meant to be taken literally. It refers to how the Enlightenment contributed to the decline of religious beliefs. Nietzsche believed that the death of God meant that traditional forms of meaning had lost their authority. He thought that this area of nihilism was necessary for humans to reach their full potential. He believed that humans had to give up on God to reach their full potential. This is the stupidity we are arguing with. Okay, when you listen to all those people that talk about all the philosophers that they have read, it doesn't make them smarter, it makes them dumber. They have itching ears. They don't want to believe what's in the Bible. They don't want to be embarrassed or made fun of or whatever. And so they start following after these idiots who think that nothing in their life has meaning. Nihilism is a lie because he became nihilistic because God was dead. That's where atheism leads. It has to. There's no other way for it, where there's no other place for it to go, except for nihilism. Because if nothing is real and nothing matters, there's no point.
Okay. Everyone who is here to visit the pyramid, at one point or another, all looks here. They all look at the top, the point. You know how they always say, the capstones on the pyramids are missing.
A capstone is a stone fixed on top of something. And in my opinion, the capstone is the stone that the builders rejected. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone is a phrase that appears in the Bible in at least 6 passages, but he's referred to as a stone or a rock many more times than those 6. The phrase refers to Jesus, who was rejected by Israel's religious leaders and authorities, but has become the most important stone in the structure, or the cornerstone. The phrase can also mean that God is doing something new and great, in the struggles of life. And I think he's doing something new and great right now, honestly.
That means all these people at the bottom are looking towards the top and don't even realize they're missing the point. The point is not there.
Anyways, that didn't really work out. The whole them living with my nana and papa. So they moved out on their own in this little trailer, and their immaturity and inexperience got the best of them, and they did not work out. My whole childhood was an argument between everybody about how much they wanted to see us. So I knew I was loved because everybody and their mama wanted us as much as they possibly could. That's how I knew I was loved, because they were willing to do anything that was necessary to get to see me, to be with me, and my sister, later on my brothers. I really help raise my brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and my mom was too young to have babies, and she needed a lot of help. And in a lot of ways, I feel like I raised my mother. Like, my mother would agree with me. In a lot of ways, I raised her. Like that show Gilmore Girls. If you notice, really, it's Rory raising Lorelai. That's how I felt growing up. Except I had a bunch of brothers and sisters to take care of too, because she wasn't in her right state of mind. And so I was the one who read them bedtime stories and gave them baths and tried to teach them about life and discipline and respect. You know, my mom initially did teach me those things. It's not like she was never a part. She never taught me anything good. There were good parts too. It was just, it's like all the things that she taught me when I was real little, she forgot as soon as I was old enough to take care of the kids, which was too young. But honestly, I loved it. I didn't hate it. I love my brothers and sisters. I think that they are amazing, awesome human beings, and I love them, and I loved that I got to help so much. I had my oldest daughter at 18, and she's going to be 14 in January. 14. Oh my gosh. I feel old. But I had my oldest daughter when I was 18. And I didn't know what I was doing either, but I had a lot of experience with children because of my brothers and sisters. So I wasn't really overwhelmed. Now, I had to leave my brothers and sisters with my mom after my daughter was born because she was getting into fights with her boyfriend and literally laying in front of the tires in front of his truck so he couldn't leave, and just crazy stuff. And the cops got called out there, and they made my daughter, I think she was probably 6 weeks old, maybe 4 weeks old, baby, stripped naked to check her for bruises. The BFCS people. We call it DFACS. And that was like, no. That was enough for me to go, because I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm dragging my kids through the same crap I went through. That's not happening. My kid, no. I cannot make her give me my brothers and sisters, but I know that I can't have my kid around this. And so I left. And later on, I did get my brothers and sisters to move in with me. She did let me keep them. You know, she had a warrant and stuff. And I was like, well, just let me keep them. They can just stay here. And then you ain't got to worry about if you go to jail, what's going to happen. And so they stayed with me for like a year, and that was great. But eventually my mom got jealous of, I think she was jealous of my relationship with them, and she made them go back, and they had to live in a tent for a year, moving around. Nobody could find her. And even if we did find her, they wouldn't let us get them. That has a big part to do with who I am, is the way my mama was and the way my brothers and sisters were and how I had to care for them. And it really prepared me to be a mom. And all this negative stuff that I looked at for so negative, I looked at all of this stuff so negatively until I got with my husband. Y'all are gonna laugh at how I met my husband. Y'all will never guess. You're never gonna guess unless you went and watched some of my old videos. When I met my husband, I was a dancer in a strip club. Yeah, I know. Shocked, aren't you? No, for sure, for real. I'm not kidding. And I was 22. I was divorced. I got divorced from my oldest daughter's dad at 21. And it wasn't a bad divorce. We still get along great. We have no issues with each other. It's just we weren't meant for each other. So I got a divorce. And then I met the love of my life. Anyways, him and his buddies had this table that they used to sit at, and they very rarely, they never got dances or nothing. They just came there to drink because it was the only bar in town where you can smoke inside. You ain't got to go outside to smoke. So, or one of few. I think it's the only one now. I don't know. I ain't been there in a long time. But they used to sit at this table, and they didn't get dances or nothing. But if you came and hung out with them, they'd let you have one of the beers out of their bucket. And, those girls got to buy their own beers. The dancers, they got to pay for their beers, too. So I started sitting there and talking to them. I'd drink a beer, hang out. It was like taking a break from work. And I had a boyfriend at the time. And I did not want to work at the club. I was working at the club because me and my husband got divorced. He moved in with somebody else, and then all of a sudden I had all these bills. I was a stay-at-home mom in college. I had a part-time job at a gas station to make a little extra money. And then all of a sudden I had all the bills. The rent, the lights, I had all the bills. There was no, I needed a job that day that could make enough to pay the bills. What I should have done is move in with my papa and just find a decent job until I could have made it on my own. But you know what? The mistake I made back then led to the greatest blessing of my life, which is meeting my husband. So I don't regret it. But I definitely did have other options, for sure. But at the time, it seemed like my only option. But I didn't want to work there, so I was working other jobs. I worked part-time at that gas station. I worked at the bar, and then I also drove a cab. I was getting 2 hours of sleep at night, and I was having to go pick my daughter up and ride her around in the cab with me to see her some days. And some days I didn't get to see her at all. When me and my ex-husband split up, I had to get roommates to pay bills. So I let my daughter live with him because I didn't want my daughter living with a bunch of dude roommates, none of which were fathers or had kids. It wasn't the right environment, so I let her live with her dad. And at the time, I told you about my brothers and sisters. At the time, I couldn't see my brothers and sisters either. So it was the hardest time of my life. And something switched in my brain. It was like oh, wow, for 1 minute, you don't have a bunch of kids you got to take care of at your house. And so I went a little wild. I was on a downward spiral, and I'm working all these jobs, and I come home one day and my boyfriend's sitting on the bed and he's like, baby, my thumbs hurt real bad. And I was like, why? He's like, because I've been trying to beat that, because I played Final Fantasy X. He's like, because I've been trying to beat this thing for you all day. And I just can barely even move my thumbs. Will you rub my thumbs? I had just got home after working a literal 19-hour day between the gas station and the cab and the bar. A 19-hour day. And I come home and he's talking about how bad his thumbs hurt because he's been playing video games all day. And that was it. It was over. That was it. For sure. That was like a slap in the face. And then I start sitting there at this table and drinking a beer with these guys, and I just found my husband so interesting. He was so smart, like really for real smart, not pretend smart. Not like he uses a bunch of big words that he doesn't truly understand to make you think he's smart, but he actually is very smart. And eventually we start dating. His friends gave me a really hard time when we first started dating because my husband my husband is a good man all the way down to his soul. And he has always had his shit together. He's always had a good job. He's always paid his bills. He bought his first house when he was 21. He had his stuff all the way together. He was 29 when we met. He had his stuff all the way together. And I was like this 22-year-old divorced with a kid stripper. So I understood why his friends were a little skeptical when I started coming around. I didn't get offended. I got it. I understood. His mama didn't like me at first neither, and I understood that too. I wouldn't have liked me if it was my kid. There would be some proving yourself you got to do. The way I quit the club was my husband told his mama that I quit working there. But y'all know how I feel about lying. And so I was like, you shouldn't lie to her. And he was like, well, just quit. I was like, I've got bills. He said, you're living with me now. You got a phone bill? Just quit. So I quit. But the most important thing that my husband, look, I came in here to talk to y'all while I do laundry, and I ain't even doing laundry. But the most important thing that I learned from my husband, the most important thing, the biggest thing he did for me, what made me fall in love with him, was that he would call me on my bull crap. I am a good bull crapper when I want to be. Okay? Now, I try not to lie anymore, but sometimes you're bull crapping yourself in your head. And so you're truly believing the bull crap you're spitting sometimes. And my husband just called me on it every single time. Every single time. Every time. So I'm talking to him about my mama one night. And this day changed my life. This night changed my life. I'm talking to him about my mama one night. And I tell him, I think I'm doing pretty good for where I came from. And my husband is like, what does where you came from have anything to do with how good you can do? Like if your mom did so much messed up stuff, why is that your bar? You just want to do better than crap? That's good enough for you? And dude, talk about life-changing. It was like so much stuff in my perspective shifted immediately. Well, not immediately because we had been drinking, but in the morning, my perspective was really different. It was like, wow. What a horrible bar to set myself. Like, I just want to do better than the horrible crap I went through. Like, that's the bar? Shouldn't I be wanting to do even better than that? Like, so my bar was too low. That's what he taught me, was that my bar was too low. And then we got married. We spent $3,000 on the whole wedding. We did what's called a wedding moon. So we bought tickets to Belize, plane tickets to Belize, and then we went to like a resort out there, and they did the whole wedding, and we came back. So we did like our wedding and our honeymoon the same trip. And then we just Facebook Lived it for our families. And we only paid $3,000 for the entire thing. For the wedding and the honeymoon, the hotel trip, the flight, everything. $3,000. My wedding dress cost $20. You can have an amazing wedding experience and not spend that much money, just for the record. When we had babies, my whole life changed. When, we had my daughter already. Because as soon as I got into a stable place, she moved back in with me, where I didn't have to have roommates and stuff. She moved back in with me. But when we got married, my husband changed. It was like he completely changed his priorities overnight, which is a good thing. That's what you want to happen, but it's not what a lot of guys do. But I knew he would be a good father before we ever had babies. I knew he would be a good father, that he needed babies. And I was right, because he is an amazing father. We got married and lived happily ever after. No, I'm just kidding. There's been hard times, but I think that story's for another day. The trolls in my comments don't bother me. And I think they don't bother me for the same reason that they don't bother a lot of you guys. What can they do to me? This is my hobby. Talking to you guys. I like talking to you guys. There's nothing they can take. I ain't got a job. I'm a stay-at-home mama. I take care of my babies and my husband. That's my job. And I want to do some good in the world, for real. Not like pretend to. I want people to be better off for having known me. And that's why I don't lie. And that's why they can't find anything on me. That's why they're pulling at straws like, I'm going to tell everybody you've got this video on your channel about the time your mom went to jail. Dude. One, I apologize for putting that out there before my mom even said anything to me. And when my mom saw my apology video, she called me and told me to put the video back up because she thought it was funny. And all those videos are still up on my channel explaining all that. So it's like you've been debunked before you even come up with the bullcrap line you're trying to push. That happens with church a lot too, actually. It's like he knows what narrative they're going to push, and he preemptively understands what he needs, what they're going to try to use to scare him or something. But it ain't scary if you're always telling the truth. It ain't scary. It's only scary if you're hiding something. And I ain't hiding nothing. But I ain't lying nothing about nothing. I ain't never lied about nothing to nobody. And I don't judge people on how they meet, because I wouldn't advise you to go find a husband the way I did. And I wouldn't advise a young boy to go find a wife the way my husband did. But you know what? It worked out real well for both of us. We're extremely happy. My life is not stressful at all. At all. It's not stressful at all. I'm not stressing about anything. I have more than I need. My cup runneth over. And even if I had nothing, the only opinion I care about, the only person I want to be right with is God. That's it. That's the only person I care about. God and my husband. If I'm right with them, there's nothing you can do. And my husband believes in me. And he likes what I'm doing. He likes what I'm doing. Now, it did take me a minute to explain to him. But he gets it. He likes what I'm doing. And he knows I'm not full of crap. Because he's seen how much I'm in my Bible. He's watched me. He knows what I care about. He knows me. So he ain't worried about some trolls on YouTube. Not at all. And neither am I. But y'all can keep commenting. I appreciate it. It boosts me in the algorithm having so much engagement on my videos. So I appreciate that, y'all. I am a woman who has made some mistakes, who found Jesus and it changed her life, who found her husband and it changed her life, and then she found Jesus and it changed her life. Having kids changed my life. I feel like it does that for everybody. Kids are what it's about. That's what my life is about. And, you know, right now my kids are young, and so they don't think what I'm saying is interesting. Yes, I know. See, she's laughing at me. You hear her?
I said sorry. I'm interrupting your
See,
video.
they don't know.
And
But one day they're going to be real interested in what I got to say, and they'll be able to come back and watch these videos and learn who and what I'm about, and learn about the industry or God or whatever. One day they're going to be able to watch these. One day they'll be interested. And that's really cool. So that's what we're doing. We're documenting. We're making a documentary. Yes, we are. Everybody's making a documentary. They just don't know which player they are in the documentary. But I know which player I am. Also, pro laundry tip. These hangers, that stuff comes on when you buy them at the store, don't throw them away. Hang your kids' outfits up in outfits, and it'll make everybody helping you get the kids ready easier. Because you can say, baby, will you go grab an outfit out of the closet? And he ain't got to match nothing. He ain't got to find nothing. He just goes and looks in the closet, and there's an outfit. It's a pro tip for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Learning a little bit more about me. Thanks for watching Ashley's Thoughts. Bye, guys.